Summer's almost over, and it makes me sad because this is arguably one of the best seasons of Summer House I've ever seen.
I'm just happy that we squeezed in one last freedom dinner because who doesn't want a freedom dinner at the end of summer?
Dude, I have a lot to say about that, but holy shit, it was funny.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by Why Won't It Stop Raining McGee. What's up, dude?
It's the worst. I had some car issues yesterday for the first time ever because I drove through a big puddle and my engine started making weird noises. So we'll see where that
Nice.
goes.
How do you fix that? Would you get a blow dryer and just pop the hood? That's like the extent of my car knowledge. I don't pretend to know a lot about cars, but it's like, just dry
it's
that
funny
bad
too.
boy off.
I got a couple of recommendations, basically like calling to try to get an emergency inspection. And one guy was like, "Oh, I've done that plenty of times. Just wait for it to dry out." The other guy was like, "I'm going to have my exhaust guy come in here. He's going to have to pull it apart and look at everything. It could be very costly." And I'm like, I'm going to go with the first guy who
Yeah.
said, "Let's see if it dries." And yeah, procrastination at its finest. That's what I like to live by.
Did you fire up this morning? What'd you sound like?
It sounded okay, better than yesterday, but I've got faith. I feel like it's just, it's going to be a 2-day thing. We'll just see where we are tomorrow. And if tomorrow doesn't deliver, then we'll see where we are on Saturday.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah,
I think you're fine.
Everything works
It's
out.
fine. Yeah, it's all good. I think you're gonna be totally fine. But this episode hopefully cheered you up a little bit with your car troubles because this was a banger of an episode. It's been a banger of a season. It had a lot of risk with the Jesse Lexi thing taking center stage. Obviously, we get tired of relationship drama in a show like Summer House, but somehow it has been captivating throughout the entire season. Next week is the season finale. They did a good job. This has been a solid season of Summer House.
I feel like for the hand that they were dealt with this Jesse Lexi thing, they leaned into it heavily. There are some other things going on. Obviously, every other episode we get a little bit of a Carl and Lindsay dynamic. We get a little bit of this and that and whatever, West and Ciara. But when it comes down to it, the focal point is Jesse and Lexi. And sometimes I wish that we didn't have to look at this from like a podcast analytical standpoint.
Sure.
Because when I'm watching it, and you've gone through this, early stages of these shows like Southern Charm, Summer House, I told you a million times, stop looking at this like a real show and real people and just laugh at them. And it works out really well.
It works.
I want to be in a situation where I can sit here and I don't have to pick a side. I just want to be able to enjoy it. But instead we have to sit here and we have to talk about it. So innately I do have to pick a side. But it would be so much fun to just sit there and laugh at them. And that's pretty much what I do during the episode. And then when I sit down here, I'm like, all right, where do I actually stand?
Where do we fall on this line?
Yeah.
This
I wish I could just be like surface level. Like, this is funny as shit. These people are nuts. I can do that, but then I have to say, well, Jesse's wrong for this. Lexi's wrong for this. I don't want to do that. I just want to enjoy it,
I do think that obviously the biggest problem is Jesse, but I don't think that it's only Jesse. I think that he's like the obvious fuck up because he did a bunch of stupid shit. And I don't think he does a good job this episode of clearing those things up at all because he still doesn't
live. Yeah.
He just doesn't understand it. And that bothers me. Like, that part frustrates me. It's like, just because you personally see it as one thing does not make that the truth, but he's holding on to that. On Lexi's side of things, it's like, I get it. Like, I get it. You got burned. This dude was an asshole the whole time, but you guys fucking met a month ago. This is banana land.
When it comes to Lexi, though, like, part of me tries to go back in time and it's like, all right, 26-year-old trying to navigate a weird ass relationship being on TV. Some of her behavior makes sense where she breaks up with a guy. She lets him talk to her. I'm leaving the family side out of this because I already declared last week her family is batshit crazy and I want nothing to do with them.
Further confirmed this
weirdos,
episode.
just bizarre people. But when it comes down to just Lexi and Jesse, I understand it. You go through this, you're pissed off about something, you finally hit your breaking point, you have a conversation and you end up back in the relationship for a couple of days, and then you finally break it off. That's fine. I have no issues with that. Jesse tries to paint it a different way. Like, I thought we were good. We had a good dinner. We did this. We did that. It's like, well, you're not really seeing it the right way.
No.
But Jesse should know better. And I love it when we're doing this and he's talking to West about like dating, and he said something on the Watch What Happens Live that kind of goes against this. But when he's talking about dating again, I'm like, what do you mean? You're excited to get back to just like dating outside of the house? You're excited to like see where things go? Isn't that what you were doing before this? Like, this isn't a new thing. You've been in a relationship for a month. Why are you talking like you've been in a relationship for like 5 years and you're excited to be single? I guess that's what it feels like.
That's not what he was saying. He was saying, I'm excited
Yeah.
to explore my relationship with Lexi in the
That's
city.
he
Like,
confirmed that on Watch What Happens Live, but everybody was very confused about that
oh, I
because
wasn't. I figured out what
okay,
he
so
meant.
I don't think that's what he meant at all. I think he backtracked and did that. So
Oh,
I guess it sounded good enough, but even Andy was
I
like,
don't.
"That's not what you said."
Oh, see, I just took that for. I thought he phrased it weird, but I was like, I think he means, away from the house. There's no cameras. It's like I'm excited to see what our relationship looks like in a normal
Mhm.
setting. That's what I got from it. Apparently,
Yeah,
I'm just
he
smarter than
phrased.
everybody.
No, you fell for Jesse's trap. I think so.
Oh,
It
fuck
would probably
off.
be the opposite.
I don't think so, because
The
up
way that
until
he
this
phrased
point,
it was
he's like,
bizarre. He said, I'm
sure,
ready to date outside of the house. That's not
yeah,
explore the
her.
relationship outside. Yeah. See, you fell for it.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's falling for it. I really don't.
Mhm.
I think that you're
Yeah.
dumb and didn't pick
You
up
got
on it.
gaslit by Jesse and you
No,
fell for it.
that's
It's
not a guess.
okay. It happened to
But if you
Lexi all
let's use
summer.
logic instead of being an idiot about it. If you look at it, like in the
No.
structure of what he was saying and when he was saying it, it makes a lot of sense if he was alluding to, I'm excited to date her out of the house. It seemed pretty black and white to me.
But he didn't say that. He didn't say I'm excited to date her outside of the house. He said I'm excited to date outside of the
I
house.
don't think that was given how he'd been talking about her. This is not the important part of the episode, by the way, but given the how he'd been
Apparently it
talking
is.
about the relationship up until that point, and then he says that. I got that from it. So I don't think I fell for a trap. I think he phrased it weird, but he does a lot of shit weird. So that
He
that's his
phrases it
problem.
weird
I mean, that's his
intentionally.
problem is like he leaves the door open and then shit
Mhm.
falls apart. He's like, that's not what I meant. I was joking. It's like, well, you do this to yourself. So
Yeah.
regardless of intention there, you leave the door open to allow for speculation. And that's part of his problem. I think we
we
just
can
proved that.
tell pretty quickly that his main intention, the only thing that he was intent on doing was repairing his relationship with Ciara. He did
Yes,
not care
that was
about what
clear.
else happened around him, all the fallout of anything. And that's fine. I don't give a shit. I don't think that him and Lexi shouldn't have been together to begin with. So if you're going to prioritize a friendship with Ciara over that,
Well, that's not what he's
fine.
doing either.
That makes sense. What do you mean?
He's in love with Ciara.
I see. Yes, but
I think he's in love with the idea of Ciara. I think he's in love with the
better.
idea
Yeah.
of dating her, being wildly attracted to her. They get along. She gets his humor, all those things. I think in his like subconscious, he's like, this is what a real relationship should be like. Now, if they actually dated,
Yeah.
he'd fuck it up immediately. I don't think he doesn't have the capacity to date Ciara. But in his like, that's what I do think.
Ciara. I really hope, and I know Ciara said a couple of things or a couple of times, that door is completely shut. It was never really open. We're not going to date. We're just friends. Jesse on Watch What Happens Live said friends like 7 times to one of the questions and even ended the question with friends. Guys, we're just friends.
Yeah.
He wants people to speculate a little bit more. And, obviously we can take a little bit of what Lexi said in these past couple of weeks on various podcasts with a grain of salt. But there is some truth somewhere in there that he does like being the center of attention, whether it's good or bad. And I think he's playing into it a little bit more than you probably should be, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. But why don't we jump into this episode? Because it picks up immediately at the beach conversation with Ciara and Jesse. And again, he gets upset about the things that people say about him. I don't like that you're calling me two-faced and a liar. It's like, well, then you probably shouldn't be two-faced and a liar, and people won't call you two-faced and a liar. He goes, it hurts a lot. It's like, you're an idiot, dude. You act like a dumbass. You get called out, and then you're like, I don't like when you say that. It's like, then stop doing
It's
it.
hurtful. You hurt my feelings.
You hurt their feelings,
I
you
know.
fucking moron. Like,
you know what my gripe is? This is actually a pretty funny gripe. My gripe is we should have ended the last episode with this whole conversation and picked up in the city this week. We did not need 30 seconds of their conversation and then quote unquote getting back together and being friends again. Them going to bed and then leaving for the city the next morning in the first 2 minutes of this episode. What are we doing?
They needed some filler, probably. They just needed a little bit of filler, and that's what they got here. And like what this proved, because Ciara, obviously, her initial reaction is, I don't care anymore. I'm over. I'm waiting for this to be over so I can move on from this whole thing. He didn't back off. He kept kind of pressing it and emphasizing how important she was, and this friendship's important, and it's more than just something you can brush off. it works. She gets to a point where she's like, look, I'm salty, but I'll get over it. This is not irreparable. What this proved was if West had balls last year or at some point this year and sat down and had a similar conversation when shit got rocky, he kept pushing like, no, this is important to me. There might have been a path forward that was a little easier than what we got. I mean, I think they're finally in a decent spot. She did ask him if he's driving forward.
Yeah,
That's
that's
big.
huge.
Massive.
Those are my favorite moments of the show anymore.
Same. It's so fucking
They're
funny.
so great.
And look, I understand it's a much different scenario. I don't think she would have been like buddy with West, but this did show like all I think she needed to be able to move on earlier
Yeah.
was had he been able to sit down and at least hash it out to the point where it's like at least everything's out in the open now. There's no more question marks. I think it might have resolved things a little bit quicker.
So one, I'll say Jesse and West are very different people, and you can see that in a lot of different circumstances.
Sure.
So if it were to come down to that, I still don't think West would have had that conversation. I think it's just too uncomfortable for him to have, and he's afraid of those conversations.
Fully agree. I fully agree with that.
The one caveat is them being Ciara and West, they broke up off camera. The show was not running. This whole thing happened months after the summer ended, and then it started up. We found out about it a little bit later, and then the show started, and we're like, "Oh shit, this is weird." And there's a lot of like news reports about the two of them breaking up and being weird and all this shit. Jesse and Ciara, this was fully on camera. This was very much so, and I think Jesse probably still would have had this conversation, but it probably would have gone a little different. When they do it on camera, it's always going to be different.
He's very cognizant of the camera.
Very cognizant. He knows what he looks like in certain circumstances, and I think he didn't want to let it get too far. But he still plays the victim card a little too much.
It's so weird.
He
does it later too. Like, what do you not understand?
It's one of those situations where if he was better at it and he had the pieces in the right places and then played the victim card and was gaslighting, it would be awesome reality TV because it would just show like, hey, wow, you're thinking like 2-3 steps ahead and these people are falling for it that you're the victim. He doesn't do that. He just does a bunch of shit and then tries to backtrack and then make up stories and then tell different people different things and isolate them like Lexi, and then has this conversation with Ciara where he's like, yeah, my feelings are hurt. Why are you going to do that to me? I don't want you to do that to me.
What's your problem?
What are you talking about?
It's not making me feel bad.
Yeah. If he set it up better, I'd be like, wow, that's a mastery at gaslighting. But instead it's like, what are you doing? Why do you think this is going to work?
It goes back to our theory of he's done this his whole life in his dating life, but it's never been on camera. So it's probably worked. You know, and now he's doing the same shit on camera where we're all breaking it down and analyzing it like you're a fucking idiot, man. And it's like, why isn't this working? It's like, because we're scrutinizing you. There's more people scrutinizing what you're doing. It's not one person that you're getting to fall for your gaslighting. We're watching it and going, that's wrong. You're wrong. Why do you not get it? Great TV. But it's very confusing to watch for me. But the funniest part is at the end of the conversation, you know, he's like, oh, you can't get rid of me, blah, blah, blah. Like they make up. And the flirting resumes immediately. Instantly. I'm like, you guys just want to fuck. And it's so obvious.
And this is where I get annoyed with Ciara. It's like, come on, stick to your fucking guns for one, bro. Please. Like you're sticking to your guns very hard with West.
You said, I'll get over it. And then immediately you're over it and flirting. It's like, what happened?
The sexual chemistry is undeniable. That's the only thing that you can point to where it's like, this guy, he's not such a great friend that you can't get rid of him. Like if you and Amanda had a big fight or you and Paige had a big fight and you guys sat down and you're like, all right, I'll get over it. It's not that big of a deal. That would make sense because you guys are good friends. This is Jesse. This is just a guy that like, there's some weird sexual chemistry there. There's some tension. A lot of shit's been building up all summer and last summer. And now you're at a point where you're like, is it that big of a deal? But you've got West sitting over here, and I know West like went on a fucking rampage and started talking about your relationship and gaslighting and all that,
tour and all that shit.
But like, you're still mad at the guy, and he's been nothing but silent and trying to be nice to you the whole time. But you forgive Jesse immediately, even though you're the person that he used to drive a wedge between his own relationship. Like he blamed you for the two of them like having or being on the rocks, and you're like, all right, whatever. You look at that smile. I can't deny you.
You didn't hear, you big goofy bastard. But they get back to the house, and Jesse and Lexi are like recapping the Ciara stuff. And, you know, I guess give him credit for being transparent about the Ciara stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, I mean, to a certain extent, like the fact that he's talking.
Like, why wouldn't he just sit here and be like, you know what? There was some shit said, but you know what? I think we cleared the air and we're going to be okay. And leave it at that.
He talks
goes
to
into these.
I'm like, you're talking to your girlfriend about another girl and like your relationship.
Hurting your feelings and making you feel emotions and being upset.
I'm like,
and then
dude.
trying to like, what are you doing? Just say you cleared the air and everything's going to be fine. And I guess, that kind of sets us up for later in the episode too, because the way that he's talking about that conversation, we just watched it. It was weird. It made no sense. And then at the end, you guys made up and immediately started flirting. Yes. You go to Lexi and you're like, I just don't really get it. I don't know why she feels that way about me. And it kind of hurt my feelings. And I feel like, she's not giving me a chance and she's blaming me for stuff. And I don't really like it. It's like, we didn't just watch that.
First of all, you guys are good. Second, why are you talking like this to your girl? Like, what are you doing? She's not going to be comfortable with this.
The funny thing is, I think I've moved past that. I don't even look at it like that
No,
anymore.
which is fine because it's just like whatever. But like from that standpoint, it's like, how do you think she's going to take this? Even if she likes Ciara, she's not going to be like, oh, great, you're getting closer with her again. Like,
and that's such a weird move.
I agree. That's what leads to her going to confessionals and being like, if you want to be friends with her, like, whatever, go for it. I'm like, now she feels some type of way about Ciara because of you, Jesse.
It doesn't clear the air with your girlfriend at all. It just brings up more questions.
That's what she says. I have questions. I'm like, you probably should have questions.
And I've gotten past, 5-6 episodes ago, I would have said that he's just self-sabotaging and trying to do things so that Lexi breaks up with him. He's not trying to do that. Like, I'm fully convinced now that he's just doing weird shit and then realizing, wow, that was such a bad move. Why did I do that?
Down. I don't understand it. It's fucking confusing.
I can't wrap my head around it.
It's crazy. But we get to Amanda's event. She has her swimline preview with South Moon Under, which is awesome. And she's talking about how she's found herself with this whole thing and getting on the correct medication. And we've seen it. Like, we've seen a much different Amanda, much happier Amanda. So all this stuff is super exciting. But while we're at the party, it's nice to see Kyle there, supporting his wife, supporting her endeavors.
Nicer to see her dad. I love her dad.
And her pops is there. That's great. Love to see that. I'm always curious about what his actual opinion of Kyle is. Like, I want that so bad.
Well, you did see the scene of Kyle and Amanda after Kyle cheated on her.
Yes, I've seen that like 100 times. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm with you. Every time I think he just kind of like, Kyle's all right. Like,
he has to put up with it. I think
Kyle has been incredible this season.
He's been great. He's been doing. He went to bed with Amanda. Like, he's made a lot of big moves.
I told you I'd go to bed with you tonight. No one else is doing anything.
Hey, it's nice to see. Look, credit where credit's due. But Lexi's there with her sister, of course, and they're talking to Gabby, and they bring up Jesse to the sister, and she's like, well, like this kind of shit. She's like, well, is he doing good? And sis is like, I mean, he did buy Mom and I tequila last week. It's like, oh, good.
When we went to the fucking strip club together, like what? I can't with their family, man.
It's like, weird, bro. It's fucking weird. And like, that's not
all sleeping in the same bed. Like, what? They give me the fucking creeps. The whole family gives me the creeps. Where's the dad?
Sense.
Where is the dad?
Probably at home. Like, this is weird.
Did her parents get a divorce? Like, what happened?
I don't know what's going on there. I really don't know what's going on there. And like,
Lexi's mom divorced her dad to go chase her dreams of piggybacking off of her model daughter. Yeah,
I guess. Like, I don't fucking know, bro.
I've got bigger things to do here.
That's not a big one-up that he bought you tequila. Like, sick. Like, yeah, he bought shots at the bar. Like, fuck.
Like, you should have seen when Lexi walked in with her sister. It was just an audible groan. Like,
I know. It's like, here we go.
Enough with the sister.
I don't get it. But we head back to the house. Amanda gives her speech at the event, just feeling empowered and all those good things. But we get back to the summer house. West and Jesse driving up together. And it's funny to hear the two differences in summers, because West is like, man, this feels fast, and Jesse's like, no,
this is the longest 8 weeks of my life.
This has been 2 years of my life, it feels like. And he's like, boys weekend? He's like, hell yeah. He's like, are you allowed to have boys weekend? Hell no. All right, what a bummer. But unbeknownst to us, foreshadowing, a little foreshadowing there, because immediately, and this is quite possibly, we've had a lot of juxtaposed scenes over the years, right? You guys can all attest to that listening. We say this line a lot, juxtaposed scene. This is my favorite. I've ever seen. Because on one hand, you've got Jesse, who's stoked that he and Lexi are finally in a good place. I'm excited that we're finally past all this bullshit. We had a solid date on Tuesday night. Things are looking up for your boy. I'm looking forward to not arguing this weekend. Blah, blah, blah. Jump over to the other car. Lexi's like, yeah, so I invited Jesse over for drinks at 9:00, and he said he had to get a manicure. And I didn't believe him, obviously, which led me to think I don't trust this man, which led me to the decision I no longer want to date this guy. Flash over to Jesse. I'm so excited to hang with Lexi. Flash over to Lexi. How do I break up with this guy?
Yeah. No, this was perfect. And it's so funny. And this is like the best penance too, that you get broken up with the last weekend of the summer.
Yep.
Like you don't even get to have. West is sitting there like, boys, and let's do it. You get a sad and obviously it's gonna be a little weird. I don't care how he feels about the relationship. Like if Lexi breaks up with him and he turns around and he's trying to be happy, it's still going to have like some dark cloud following him all weekend. He doesn't even get to have fun that last weekend. Your summer is now ruined. Like the summer of 2024 for Jesse, you look back, you just block it out.
Total wash.
There's nothing there to like sink your teeth into. Like, wow, that was a great moment. Nope. You get nothing. Nothing at all.
You get a big fat zero this summer. Yeah. You fucked the whole summer up.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Correct. That's where we're at. That's where we're at, because you look back, what do you have to show for it? Getting broken up at the last weekend. You fought the entire summer. You were miserable the whole summer. You're getting in trouble because you don't know how to be in a relationship all summer. Wes tried to warn you early in the summer. Now he gets to say, I told you so if he wants to. You almost fucked up your friendship with Ciara. You almost fucked up friendships in the house. You ruined Lexi's summer in turn. Nice job. Great. Great.
And by the way, if Lexi's going to come back next season, you have to deal with it again. So maybe the beginning of next summer is also going to suck.
Yep. Just look at West. That's what next year is. That's what you get to look forward to.
And that's where him and West being very different people is going to come into play. He's not going to do the chivalrous, I'm not going to bring any girls back. I'm not going to flirt with any girls. Like West did that all summer. West had one night where he actually stayed out at a friend's house out of respect, probably hooked up with a chick, came back.
He confirmed he hooked up with a chick on the couch.
Which is kind of funny, but didn't really go into it and just kind of moved on and moved around the house silently and just tried to focus on the things that he's good at, which is little one-liners here and there and making relationships with other people in the house that aren't Ciara. Perfect. But Jesse's not going to do that. I know what the first weekend, actually, what's it coming up here in like 6 weeks? That first weekend in July is going to be awful if Lexi's there. It's going to be must-see TV next year, but awful.
Agreed. But we get back to the house. Carl pulls up with the soft bar truck, and, that's all he has to care about right now. He's putting all his eggs in this basket. We've talked about this already, but he hasn't gone on Instagram, but was sent this post. I can't imagine how many times people sent him this post in the DMs because people send us stuff like this.
I'm assuming she blocked him. And also, I don't believe that he didn't go on Instagram.
Oh, he definitely did.
Carl lives in the comments on Instagram. We've seen him a lot of times.
I don't think Lindsay blocked him. I think that she probably did at some point, but I imagine at this point he's unblocked.
Well, I imagine he probably doesn't follow her, so it's not going to be like that conclusive, but would be kind
Everyone
of funny
sent the post to him, which is not surprising either. But
the
post is hysterical. I'm sorry. Like, she goes on a timeline rant about what this past year has been since quote unquote Freedom Day is what she's calling
still
it.
Up. Yeah,
it definitely is. There's no way she took it down.
God, she posts a lot.
That's her primary source
August of last year. Yeah, that's a really good point.
She's a full-time influencer.
Ooh, yeah.
What was the picture?
It was her sitting down, or no, here it is. Here it is. Got it. She still has it up. August 30th, 2023, breakup / the beginning of what was supposed to come. 2023, September. Still went on my bachelorette trip with all my girlfriends, which gave me the strength and confidence to start moving forward. October 2023, travel. November 2023, BravoCon. December 2023, closed on my house. So we at least now see, this is what I appreciate by Lindsay. We always want a timeline. Give me a fucking timeline, month to month, for the love of God. January 2024, reconnected with my man and started going on dates with him. 2024 in February, installed and kicked off Nash House for being ready for rent. Summer House Season 8 premiere. And she got pregnant in April 2024. And this is just great. Like, it's so top heavy. starting off with the breakup, going into the bachelorette trip, going into finding herself, closing on a house, and then it's like got pregnant, and then moved on with my life. And that's pretty much where it ends. It's so
Dude,
fucking funny, dude.
I just
It's
found
such
it
a
finally.
shot. It's such a shot at Carl.
That's all it is.
It's
That's
so
all
funny.
it is. It's all it is. It can be masked however you want to mask it. This is my big liberation day, blah, blah, blah. Doing this and posting it on the way to the house is intentional. Having this dinner is intentional. It's all just a fuck you to Carl. And like, look,
Carl bringing sandwiches up and then her replacing the sandwiches. That was a coincidence, but it's fucking hilarious.
I know, it's fucking hysterical. Like I'm not taking away from what Lindsay brings to the show. Even the Freedom Dinner itself is such good TV, but it's like you can't sit there and say you're over this whole thing and you keep doing shit like this, taking shots directly at Carl. It's fucking hysterical. But they're all getting to the house and Carl sees or hears about the post and he's like, it says something different when you put all that shit out there. I'm like, it does. You're correct with that whole thing. But you can tell she wanted to get responses. She wants reactions because West simply states, oh, I saw your post. What does that mean? It's like, I read it. I read the post. What do I say now? I got to go outside. I love you. Bye. And everyone's just kind of reacting to this whole thing. West is in trouble now, so he's outside going like, I don't know what to do. But meanwhile, the girls are in the kitchen, and Lexi is just trying to figure out when's the right time to pull the trigger. Where do I go? Yeah. Where do I go? I want to do it quickly so that the weekend's not ruined.
Yeah.
I'm at home like, ooh, come on, do it now.
And right now.
She does. She walks outside and the boys are talking and Jesse already says like, yeah, it just feels a little off. And the other guy's like, yeah, I noticed like a little energy shift too. She walks over. Hey, can we talk on Kyle's balcony? It's like, oh, you got to know.
We forgot to mention that Imrul's back, by the way.
Oh yeah. Imrul's there, which is good.
Acting like he wasn't edited out of the last episode. So
it's so crazy. The Imrul treatment has been wild to watch, but Jesse and Lexi sit down on the balcony to have a quick chit chat. And when she opened it up, I was like, uh-oh, I don't think she's going to do it because she's like, I just want to make sure like we're realigned. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like we're going to fix this again? Yeah. No. But while they're having their conversation, Ciara arrives to the house, which is important to note. But when she gets into it, I thought she did a good job. She's like, I'm looking for a deeper relationship, something that you're not giving me. I haven't been able to really break through with that whole thing. And I've found myself rationalizing all of your behavior. And you're clearly just not ready for the relationship that I am. I was like, that's a good way to put it. And I agree. I don't think he's on the same level that you are. And that's okay. Well said. Of course, Jesse starts acting like he's surprised by this whole thing. He's like, I thought everything was good after this past week. I don't really know what happened. And the bottom line, she can't trust you. I don't know why she would. You've given a lot of reasons for her to not trust you. But on the flip side, if you have to say in a 1-month relationship, I've been making an effort to abide by the rules.
Yeah,
if you feel like you have constant rules and guidelines, it's not going to be a successful relationship anyway.
That was the immediate like, come on, that's exactly what we're talking about here. And I wish that Lexi could have just pointed him out right then and there because that's as cut and clear as you can get. As soon as he says, I feel like I've been doing a good job following the rules that you pushed on me. It's like, okay, there's the problem. How do you not realize when that comes out of your mouth? That's what this is all about. Like, this is pretty much exactly what we're talking about, where you're saying that she's got these rules. And this is mutual, by the way. This isn't even on Jesse. This is on both of them. If she's telling you, you need to do this, this, and this, and this if you want to be in a relationship with me, and you're abiding by that, and it doesn't come up to your standards with how you want to live, the relationship's not going to work. That's what this is in a nutshell. So you guys are both viewing it like that. You're clearly saying these are rules. She's saying this is how I expect you to be in a relationship. It's not going to work. So I don't understand how it wasn't just mutual at that point. Like, hey, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah.
Because he doesn't see what she's saying. And she gives him an example. It's like, for example, like the manicure thing. Like, I want you to come over and hang with my friends, get to meet them, all that stuff. And you told me that you had to go get a manicure. And here we go. He's like, well, that's not what I said. I said I was getting a manicure. It's like, okay, whatever the reason may have been, like the whole point that she's saying is when you said that, the immediate thought was he's lying to me.
Yeah.
And she even reiterates, like, you might have been doing that. And it's not
Yeah.
fair that my first thought is
Yep.
that he's lying, but that's
And
where
all
I'm
he
at with
heard
you.
was liar. All he heard was lie, liar. And that's pretty much what she's been saying to him for like weeks. But he's not getting it.
He
It's
doesn't
just the
understand.
feeling that she gets because of the way you've acted all summer.
Correct.
That when you say something, she doesn't believe you immediately. And that's a problem. So a flag goes up immediately. And he's like, well, I just feel like you're calling me a liar. Like, I don't.
Yes.
You're disparaging my name. Like, I feel like I'm not a liar.
No.
I'm not lying about this. I was getting a manicure. It's like, you may have been, but she doesn't believe you. And that's a problem.
Neither do we, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. I believe you got one. I don't believe that's what you're doing at 9:30 p.m. I know
Well,
it's the
yeah,
city that never
he said on
sleeps.
Watch What Happens Live, he's like, yeah, I was coming back from Amanda's event and just decided I wanted to get a manicure, and those things are open till like midnight, so I just stopped in.
But again, like, I have
Possible,
questions.
but yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, man. I really don't know. But she kind of hammers the nail in the coffin with, you changed me. I don't
Mhm.
trust you. I don't trust anybody now. The light in me is slowly dying. I was like, fuck,
Whew.
that's heavy. And
I
that's
was laughing my ass off at this.
Oh yeah, it was deep. It was real deep. And like, this is when he gets defensive. I don't appreciate you saying I've been lying all summer. I don't appreciate you calling me a liar. You made me feel bad. It's like, all right, Jesse, because you just said it in this scene. I didn't not say that. It's like, lying by omission is
Mhm.
lying. 1. 2, if you're saying one thing to Lexi and something else to everybody else, you're lying to Lexi. You lied the whole summer. The toe thing. He's like, I
But
guess like that was a
that's
lie.
his
It's like,
example. And
exactly.
that's what I keep going back to is if it was just a toe suck, you would move on from it. Instead, he keeps doing it. He tried to play it off as a joke for a long time. That didn't work. So now he's saying, yeah, you know what? Like, that's a lie of omission. I didn't tell you that because it was weird and I didn't think it was necessary to tell you, but I learned my
That's a
lesson.
lie.
Dude, you're probably still lying about it, by the way. And that's the
Truth.
one thing that I need from the reunion. And I know, next week is the season finale, and then we'll probably get a 2-parter for Summer House.
I would imagine.
They better fucking drum down on that
Imrul
shit.
needs to spill the tea before he sails
has
off into
to,
the
and he's not
sunset.
going to. I just don't think Emerald's messy like that. But Andy's got to have a million questions about that, right? And everybody in the
Sure.
cast has to have a million questions about it after seeing it. 37 minutes in there, and that's what you did. Like,
One toe suck.
come on.
And then
like,
you said,
Emerald,
I'm hard.
yeah.
I'm
We
just
need
saying,
to know.
there's a lot of questions, but like
Yeah.
the point is, the underlying point of all of this is you lied all summer, dude. So if
Yeah.
you feel a certain way about being called a liar and disparaging your name, Lexi didn't do that. She
Nope.
didn't put you in these spots. Your decisions put you in these spots, and you don't
Mhm.
like when people call you out because it's never happened to you before. Do I think that you're inherently a bad person? I don't. And that's why I think this is hard for you to hear. You never heard people talk shit about you
Yeah.
because you haven't been on TV. You keep fucking up. You get upset at people calling you out. There's no coincidence, right?
No.
That in the same week, Ciara and Lexi both had similar conversations with you about your behavior. That's not a coincidence. That means you, the common denominator, are doing something wrong. Stop saying, I don't like when you say that about me, and stop doing the things that you don't like people saying about you. And they won't talk about it because you didn't do them, but you did them. So shut the fuck up and just take your beating and like stop. He doesn't. He can't, but
he can't. And I think that honestly, the way that the summer played out, it went on for so much longer because the first half of the summer is what he's used to. The first half of the
Right.
summer was everybody in the house making excuses for it. That's just how
Mhm.
Jesse is. What do you mean you can't comment on my Instagram pics anymore? I'm going to be pissed about that. I love those comments. They're funny. Wait, she's making you do that? Everybody fell for it. It even got to the point where, what was it? Craig and Amanda were sitting over there while he's dating Lexi and
like
exclusive
rooting
with Lexi,
for him and Ciara.
rooting for him and Ciara to hook up. And that's probably what Jesse's been used to. That's probably how his life has gone so far. And then it finally took a turn when everybody else is like, wait a minute.
This is kind of
Now
fucked
Lexi's
up.
starting to speak up and we're hearing things and they're on the rocks and we're hearing them argue. This isn't what he was saying to me. This isn't what he was acting like. He was definitely flirting with Ciara. Why is he saying he wasn't? What the fuck's actually going on? That's when the girls started to turn, was when they would hear the arguments and hear Lexi speaking up. And they're like, well, yeah, no, this is bad behavior. We do need to step in and at least try to separate them and tell Lexi to go a different way because it's not going to work out. So that first half of the summer was just all of his normal life. And then it finally turned and he's completely caught off guard by that. Like, What do you mean? Like, even in this moment, like after they break up and he's talking, he's like, I was excited to like date her away. And he does say it here. I was excited to date her out of the house away from all you idiots. It's like, that's what you've been trying to do all summer. You've been trying to isolate her from those idiots
You
so that you
did
can have
for
your
a
way.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so annoying. It's so frustrating that he like I would be so irritated trying to talk to him about this and he'd be like,
Yeah.
"What do you mean?" It's like, "What do you mean? What do I mean? How do you not see
Dude.
what we see?"
Going back to the toe suck thing, like I might even just off the record just ask him, like, come on, just tell me,
Like,
just
come
for
on,
me.
dude.
I'm very, very look, I'm selfish as a person. I just
That's
need to
true.
know. I'm not going to share it with the audience. I need to know.
I just tell me. I won't tell anybody.
Yeah.
But we get this split scene between the boys and the girls. You know, the boys are talking, "Hey man, you okay? Yeah, we're broken up." West is clearly pumped, but you know, he's like, "Hey, let's go chit chat." Because Jesse's like, "Can we go in for a little bit?" So they go to
Yeah.
talk.
I got to go lay down and be sad for a bit.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go lay down and be sad with West for a little bit. But Kyle's like, you know, this whole thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense given the timeline, and we all agree with that. But then he brings up the ick comment because while Jesse and Lexi were talking, Ciara points out, "Oh, it sounds like Lexi got the ick a little bit." And it does sound a little bit like that. I think it's a
Tiny
little
bit.
deeper than just an ick.
It's way deeper than just an ick. Yeah.
But I mean, the underlying feeling I do get, like, yeah, it's probably a little icky. But they're trying to figure it out. And it made me feel really old when we start going through the new phrasing.
Oh,
that
dude,
the
I
kids
didn't know
are
any of
saying.
them. If it makes you feel any better, I didn't know
Orbiting,
one of them.
roaching, and zombieing. Orbiting,
Zombieing, I kind of knew. Orbiting, I think
is that you
like,
just like constantly around the person but never want to like fully dive in?
I think so.
Just
Yeah.
orbiting.
I think it's
you're
like
there,
you're
but you're
always
not
kind
there.
of around, but like you're not really in a relationship. You're just
kind of
kind of around each other.
What about roaching?
Roaching, I have no idea. Oh,
Is-
I know what roaching is.
Is that like
When
a
the
fresh
lights turn
breakup
on, you
and
get the fuck out of there.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
If it's not
Roaching's
that, it
funny.
should be that.
That's how we're gonna use it. I don't know what
Yeah.
everyone else is, but that's what we're gonna use. But the girls are talking, and you know, Lexi is handling it pretty well. I think that this was a foregone conclusion that this was going to happen, so it doesn't
Yeah.
sting nearly as much. And she's talking about how she feels like she's been isolated from the ladies all summer, which is 100% true. She has
Yeah.
been isolated from everybody.
But like, yes,
I'm not going to put all of that on Jesse.
Yeah, it's
correct.
more it's more on Jesse than it is on her. But like, you also did this to yourself by doing.
Yeah, you
this,
have to take some
so-
accountability that you didn't
Well, you
make
know what
more of
she
an
said?
effort.
They were talking to her about like Bailey and stuff, and she was saying that she wished that Bailey hung around a little bit more because then they could have been newbies going in together. And she ended up just orbiting around Jesse and West
Hey,
because they were the next level up. They were the next closest newbies that were on
which
the
I
show.
get
So she
that a
wanted to
little
like
bit,
kind of
but,
latch
like,
on.
and
But-
Amanda didn't make it easy early on. Like she kind of stiff armed her out of like the
No,
girl
but
talks.
apparently Amanda knew her. Amanda was the one who asked her if she wanted to be on the show a couple of years ago too. So they did know each other beforehand. That's like where it gets a little too weird. But I do think that where she was with Jesse right away is why the rest of the house was like, yeah, you're kind of
eye roll.
annoying. Like I would do the same thing, to be fair. If you meet somebody new and they're just immediately shacking up with somebody else and being all lovey-dovey and PDA all the fucking time, if they walked into a room and be like,
Yeah,
okay,
groan. Yeah,
go away.
communal groan. No, I agree with
Yeah.
that, but I do think that's important to note. Like that is, did Jesse
Not
play a major
all
part?
on
Yes,
Jesse.
but it's
Yes.
not all on him. You got to take some
Correct.
accountability there too. But West and Jesse are talking, and again, he's like, she made me out to be a liar, you know, because like she says the toe thing. Like I didn't tell her because I thought it would be weird. And like she said, that's a
Mhm.
lie. It's like that is a lie, bro. That's a lie. And he's like, and like the half truths I told, I was like, those are lies. You're saying all the things you did wrong, but you're acting like that justifies what you did. That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me in my brain. It doesn't track. I don't understand it. It's like, brother, you lied the whole summer, the entire
Yeah.
summer.
Exactly.
But Paige joins, and you know, she doesn't trust me because I lied too much. I felt like we were so close to like breaking out of this thing and being able to move forward. And then everybody comes. This also shows you where the loyalty really lies in the house.
Yeah.
Despite Lexi going through it this summer, everybody goes upstairs to Jesse Solomon's room, and he drops.
It didn't strike me as like a we need to go check on him to make sure he's okay.
No,
It
it
was
felt
almost
like
like
FOMO.
it was almost like a joke, like a house-wide joke. Like, oh, let's go check this out. What the
Yeah,
fuck's he
let's go
doing?
see the
Is
fallout
he
here.
sad or is he goofing around? What's going on over here?
You can look at it that way, but I'm just saying optics. Like if I'm
Yeah.
Lexi, I'm like, fuck. Nobody
Yeah.
cares about me. Like everyone went to
Yeah.
check on him after he was a dick to me all summer. But
Yeah.
he drops a bomb in there. She's upset that I had a nice time with Ciara while Sierra's in the room. And Sierra's like, wait, whoa, like I'm back in this whole thing now. So he drags her back in. And do
Mhm.
I think that this happened? I do. I 100%
Yeah.
do. But I also think that if you're in a relationship that's been rocky and you've probably been bitching and moaning about Ciara for the past 2 weeks, venting your
Mhm.
frustrations to Lexi, which we've seen how you talk about Ciara to her, it's already bizarre. So she's hearing that. And then there's stories on Instagram of you and Ciara at the US Open drinking together, laughing, hanging out like nothing happened. If I'm Lexi, I feel some type of way about that. And I would voice that to him. Like that
Yeah.
wouldn't sit that well with me. So I get that. And do I think
No,
that
for
here's
sure.
the thing that's like the disconnect, and then you go, Lexi's claiming I never said shit about Ciara.
Mhm.
I don't believe that. I do think that she's like, what the fuck's going on? Like, but I also think that I understand why she asked that. Like,
Yeah.
that's not crazy to me.
No, she's doing it because of the way that Jesse talked about it. We saw it last week when the two of them were talking after the Sierra conversation, which all of us watched and said, oh, well, there we go. They squashed that. They're going to be friends again. They're going to start flirting again. Instead, it had a completely different tone.
Mhm.
Jesse felt like he was betrayed by Sierra and he was hurt by Sierra and he doesn't understand what he did and he doesn't like where they are. And then a day later, you're hanging out with her saying everything's fine. It's going to fuck the girl up. Lexi's not going to know which way is up. She's not going to know how to respond, and she's not going to trust Sierra. So, of course, she's still going to be on your side because you're her boyfriend. And she's going to say things like, well, how did that come about? Or why were you hanging out with her? Is everything okay? What's going on? Can you trust her? And by the way, I'm sure Jesse's response to all of that was probably more in line with what he was saying to Lexi after the Sierra conversation on the beach
Correct.
than it was in what he's saying right now. In this moment, he's saying, yeah, we had a great time and we were getting closer and it felt like we were friends again. He didn't go back home and tell Lexi that. He went
No.
back home and said, yeah, it's still like a little weird and I'm trying to like figure it out, but like it was nice to see her. I just, I don't want her to like feel weird around me and do this and that and whatever. So yeah, it's going to confuse the girl because he's lying to her.
And you always play the victim. You're always the
Yeah.
sad guy in the situation, never the aggressor, the person causing the problem. So yeah, she's
Yep.
gonna have a lot of questions. And now Sierra has a lot of questions. And then Jesse's like, I don't want to throw her under the bus. It's like you just did. You
Mhm.
just did. You just
Yeah,
set
bus already
Sierra
thrown.
at her. Yeah, bus hath been thrown, sir. So you can't pull it back now. We get a West and Jesse little bro hug. Yeah, those are important. Even when your bro's an idiot, you gotta.
Even
Hey,
when it
man.
smells like a gym in there.
Yep. Even when it smells like a gym, which is hurtful. West even points out, like, hey, don't
The
drag my
smell
name.
is hurtful. Yeah.
It smells a
Well,
little
it's
bit
more
hurtful.
West too,
but
because Jesse hasn't even been in there. Like Jesse stays with Lexi.
yes,
so
it's
just
all
on
West. Yeah, poor guy. Poor guy. But Sierra, Paige, and Hannah are talking, and Sierra's like, she's making me out to be a mean girl. It's like, all right, but there's more there. Yes, she is kind of, but why is she making out to be a mean girl? Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot more layers to this whole thing. And then Kyle goes to check on Lexi, and Kyle does
The
what
dad of the
Kyle
house.
does. Gives her a hug around the neck, and he's like, and this is just, he knows what he's
Classic
doing.
Kyle.
But he knows what
Classic
he's doing.
Kyle.
Like he knows how to push the show
Kind of.
forward.
If
But
I
I
had
think
to
he
guess, I
also
would
was
say
trying
Kyle's
to be comforting here and instead lights a fire.
he's still spiraling from the ick comment. He doesn't understand the ick thing.
He doesn't know what it
And I
means.
think he's just like, yeah, what the fuck's going on? I feel like I'm gonna have a conversation with her and I'm not gonna know what I'm talking about. Like I'm not gonna be able to talk in her language. She's not gonna understand what I'm talking about at all.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's right, because he starts it out. He's like, so like, how much of this had to do with like you guys and how much had to do with Sierra? And Lexi's like, what are you talking about? And he's like,
It's a valid question.
I think it is. I think it's a
Extremely
valid question.
Yeah.
But Lexi acts like it makes no. She's like, what the fuck does that even mean? And Kyle's like, yeah, fuck. Well, he said upstairs that you broke up because of his relationship with Sierra. I was like, that's not what he said.
Yeah.
That's not what he
That's
said.
not what he said.
That's not what he said at all. Oh shit, Kyle. Like you're trying to help and he made it a lot worse. Like these are two very different
But
stories.
I can understand how Kyle got that from the conversation, being a dude and listening in, and the whole summer it seems like Sierra has been like the focus of their relationship.
True.
So I don't blame him for thinking that. because it does kind of seem like that. And that's not really what he said. But from Kyle's perspective, that is kind of what's going on here. From our
That's what
perspective,
it is.
it's
I
a
think that
huge piece of it. Jesse
sure.
is mostly to blame, but like, and I'm not saying Ciara's to blame at all. I think she could have backed off a bunch of different times, but
She could
she's
have.
still not the guilty party. She's not guilty. She's not guilty. She's just not really shouldn't be a part of it.
She's
Yeah.
just there.
She's
right?
just there. She's just a figure in the middle of their relationship for whatever reason. So I don't blame Kyle for thinking that and conveying that to Lexi because it kind of felt like that.
No, and I thought her response was fine, where she's like, obviously I'm going to get protective
Mm-hmm.
because I'm dating him. And then I also think that it did happen because of the wording when Jesse's like, she got pissed at me saying that I don't have protective instincts and this
Mm-hmm.
and that and the other. I'm like, that sounds like that happened. So I
Yeah.
don't think that Lexi's telling the truth. And like, I've never brought her up. I'm like, yeah, you did. You did. And then for Jesse to say what he said, I'm like, well, he's also just adding, I don't know why he's trying to stoke this fire. Just like, let this whole thing die, dude. This thing could be over, but you
Yeah.
keep pushing it. And he
Yep.
just doesn't, whatever. It's just really funny because this could have been squashed. Like, you broke up. It's over.
It could have
But-
been. I still think there would have been weird feelings. I think
Sure.
that what this does is it gets us ahead of a
Okay.
potential the party tomorrow with Jesse and Ciara talking a bunch and Lexi sitting in the corner staring at them.
Yeah.
Eventually, this would have popped off and it would have happened either way. So I think that Kyle,
This
by doing this,
expedites.
yeah, it expedites it a little bit. And also, I just love Kyle at the end of this. Well, hold on. I don't want to
Yeah.
play a game of telephone. She's like, we already did that. This is what happened. You started the telephone game. You came down here to console me and ended up telling me what you heard Jesse say, which isn't what he said, but you're whispering down the lane and you changed it. So we're already starting the game, Kyle.
The die has been cast, but it's funny because there's just scheming everywhere.
Yeah.
The whole house is, each little click is
Yeah.
scheming on how to handle the next step. You
It's
got
so
the girls
funny.
upstairs, like, Ciara, what are you going to say? Like, of course I'm going to bring it up. I don't even know what to
Yeah.
say. I'm going to say this. And you got Lexi talking to Kyle, like, well, what else did you hear? And then you got Jesse talking
Mhm.
to West. Jesse's like, I don't even know what to do. Everyone keeps calling me a liar. I don't get it. Everyone's trying to figure out how to navigate forward.
Yeah.
And the fact that we get to do it at a freedom dinner, which
Mhm.
is already shady to begin with. And now we
God,
have more
it's the
shade
best.
coming in.
Lindsay
I was
fucking
so
rocked.
excited. She's great. She's great because we sit down at the quote unquote freedom dinner. The setup alone is fucking insane. Carl, is going to be at the table. You just threw his sandwiches away to replace
Mhm.
them with your own Jimmy John sandwiches. And the first thing you say at the table, this is the 1-year anniversary. And like Jesse makes a face. Everyone's like visibly uncomfortable. It's like, this is kind of awkward. She's like, well, in case you don't look at Instagram. And Carl's like, well, I didn't look at it, but I sure had it sent to me. I'm glad he spoke up.
Carl,
like, I had-
does always speak up when it comes to a Lindsay. Like if Lindsay's trying to be shady towards him, he always has something to say, and he's the only one who can ever really like form a sentence when going back at Lindsay. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, but like, he's not wrong when he's
No.
like, I had to read paragraph after paragraph stating a reality that I don't really agree with. And she's like, that's fine. You don't have to. Why don't you post about it? I'm like, the whole point that you're trying to get across, Lindsay, is that, this whole thing was this big liberation and you're in such a great place now. It's a year later. You're pregnant. You're with Turner.
Uh-huh.
And you're claiming to be completely over it. All this post tells me is that you're not over this. You're
Yeah.
not at all. And that's okay. Like, it was a big thing, sure. But like, you're actively taking shots at Carl now, whom, for better or worse, you guys got along fairly well for the entirety of the summer.
Yeah, the last 2 episodes he could definitely do better. And we
Sure.
talked about it last week where it's like, Carl, this is best case scenario. Like, yes,
Yeah.
you're going to have to survive a couple of little shady moments and jabs from Lindsay, but it's not going to be that bad. It could have been so much worse. She could have made your summer a living hell, and she didn't. She just chose not to. She decided to go this route, which is way funnier for us.
Oh, for sure.
This is the best that you can do. Why are you poking the bear? In this moment, I'm okay with him poking the bear because she's
Yeah.
right there. But in the other moments, right before she gets there, and he goes and basically doubles down on what he said last week about her
Or
being
she's embarrassed. Yeah, don't
He's
say
like,
that.
this week he's saying more, this is embarrassing. Why
Yeah.
is she doing this? I can't believe it. And this just
let it
shows you
happen.
she's not over it. She's still thinking about this. So yeah, that sucks for her. That's the shit that's going to get you in trouble at the reunion. And
Yes.
by the way, she had the baby, so she's not pregnant anymore. Pregnant Lindsay was lovely. let's see if real Lindsay comes back and just goes after you at the reunion for those comments, because you're not doing yourself any favors.
No, just let it happen. Let it play out. Yeah, I'm sure it's
Still
annoying.
so
Yeah,
fucking funny though.
it was great. Like, I'm not taking away from the scene, and I'm glad that Lindsay did this. It's just when you break it down from a you're not over it yet standpoint,
Yeah.
it's quite clear. Like, if you wrote
By the way,
5 paragraphs on Instagram.
leaning into it's a freedom dinner for everybody. You're
Yeah.
free too, Carl. And by
She-
the way, Jesse, Lexi, you guys are free. That was Amanda choking on the sandwich during that. I
Was
like,
all of
"God
us.
damn."
That was all of us. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, why did you bring them into this whole thing? Like,
So
what the
fucking funny.
fuck?
It's so great. She's the
She's like,
best.
thank you for setting me free. Happy we're both happy. I'm like, this is the most dysfunctional, toxic, funniest shit I've seen. And what a way to cap off the summer. Well done. But Lexi jumps in.
Well, this was at the end of Lindsay's freedom dinner. She
Yeah.
did say, Imbrel, you want to give a weird speech?
Yeah, and he's like, I don't think I can follow that one up. I'm like, you can't. You're better just to not say
But
anything.
Lexi took the position of,
She goes,
I'll give a
go.
speech. It's like, oh no, Lexi, don't.
Stop saying things that are untrue, is what she says to Jesse. And he's like, what do you mean? And the Ciara topic comes up. And Kyle gets thrown under the bus because he poorly worded it. And it's so funny because you hear Amanda like, Kyle, just don't do that. And he's
Stay
like,
out of it, Kyle.
I don't know. Like,
Sorry.
oh, my bad. I was just trying to help. It's like every time you try to help, you make it worse. I appreciate you
Yep.
trying. But Paige jumps in and says, look, let me just be clear. Like, Jesse wasn't talking shit about you. He was actually just talking about how he was sad and needed a hug. And then Ciara brings up that she was mentioned. Lexi says the protective thing. I got protective because from what I've been hearing from him, he's been talking nothing but shit about you.
Mhm.
And I don't trust you because of what Jesse has told me. And I'm like, okay, that's not horrible. And that also points to the problem once again is Jesse. Jesse looks dumbfounded, like, how is this my fault? It's like, because of the things you told her, it led her to have preconceived notions about Ciara. Now, back to the accountability thing. Do I think that it's Lexi's job to go and pursue some kind of friendship with Ciara, the people in the house, to get to know her on her own, especially knowing that Jesse lies to her frequently? Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can place all the blame on Jesse. Did Jesse help? No. He made it much harder. But
She had
I don't think it's fair.
weeks. She had weeks to be friends with Ciara. She had weeks to get close to Amanda, to Paige, to Kyle,
yes,
to everybody else in the house, and she just didn't. I like how I threw Kyle in with the girls, but he basically is at this
suck
point.
it, Kyle.
And I love his position in the house right now.
He's
But
great.
she had a long time, and all she did was focus on staying with Jesse. Everything that Jesse did, I had to do. We're texting all the time. We're seeing each other in the city. You can't be upset about not being friends with these women when you did it to yourself. Like,
you gotta
he
take some
isolated you
accountability.
at a point, but you had a lot of freedom. And this is the freedom dinner. You had a lot of freedom in the beginning of the season to be friends with these people before the season, to get to know them. And he didn't.
Nope. So that's where, like, Jesse is the primary source of negativity here. I think we can all agree there. But you have to take some accountability for your own actions in this whole thing, because you didn't take it upon yourself to have relationships with these people, which might have answered a lot of the questions that you currently have about who Ciara is as a person, what her intentions are. Maybe you would have heard from Amanda and Paige about how great she was. You would have had a different outlook other than trusting a guy that you met a month ago who's lied to you the whole time. That doesn't make sense to me. So, the bottom line, and we've said it from the jump, like, these two never needed to date, ever.
No.
In the history of dating, this was never going to work
for some very
out.
funny TV, though.
They made for a great season, which, again, did not have to happen. But let's get to some questions.
Yeah, how about some questions?
Yeah, right here from Christina Teresa. If Jesse's a liar, why is Lexi so quick to believe anything he says about Ciara? We agree. She should have taken it upon herself there.
Yeah. From Mark Maris Cal. Mark Maris Cal. We'll call it California. Why is Lindsay still on about their breakup? So over it. Well, it was fucking hilarious, Mark. Come on.
It was funny. You can't, it just was. From Megs Valentine, is Jesse being purposefully dense, or does he really not understand his words and actions? This is the question for the ages.
That is the main question. Yeah.
It's just fucking weird to watch, because he doesn't put 2 and 2 together. How is that a lie? Because you
Yeah.
didn't tell the truth, bro. Like that's pretty cut and dry to me. I don't know. It's bizarre to watch. I think again it goes back to our theory of he's never been called out for this behavior and he's been
Exactly.
doing it successfully for years, and now he's confused because he's like, wait, what?
He kind of talks
This
himself
affects
into
people?
this is normal. This is fine. I'm not getting called out, so like it must be okay.
Yeah, my behavior
nah.
affects people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Mad Wall pretty much said the same thing, but we can answer it a little differently. Do we think Jesse is oblivious or genuinely just a manipulative fuck? I think he manipulates a lot of
Somewhere in the
situations,
middle,
but he is weirdly oblivious to a lot of it too.
but he is very manipulative.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's strange. Let's do 2 more. RM Lace says Imrule has been edited out because they pay episodic fees, so they don't have to pay him as much. Yeah, probably. That guy got shafted. It's a bummer.
Yeah, he really did.
He's gonna go down as OG beast. He's opening up fucking schools for English in Bangladesh, and he got fucking shoehorned into being the sex guy. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah. Last one here from Stella Lucart. Do you think producers encouraged Lexi to stay with him until the end or break up?
I didn't get the production vibe from anything those two were doing.
Yeah, they're just genuinely insane.
Yeah, I just think that it was a wacky, love bomby. 2 people, one of whom has never been in a relationship, doesn't know how to function in it, and the other one is a hopeless romantic that dives headfirst into things, which is just a recipe for disaster, as we watched.
Yeah.
But weirdly enough, and like the biggest testament to that, and like this being a successful season, this is like the exact kind of storyline that would cause Shooter to just motherfuck the whole season.
Yeah.
Like this is literally your kryptonite, and for whatever reason it just somehow worked. Like this is lightning in a bottle that this worked out, and I'm glad it did. But
yeah, so am I. Boy, am I glad.
It was risky, because this kind of shit can get old, and we had those moments along the way where it's like, ooh, we're teetering, and then they reeled it back in.
The weird thing is, what we haven't talked about in weeks? Paige and Craig.
I know, I forgot, bro. We have to talk about it next week because we get the final breakup.
We get the final breakup scene, and then
but when they
showed
showed the scenes from next week, I'm like, come on, do we have to just fucking leave it alone? I don't care anymore.
It's too little, too late. It's almost like even this week, I completely forgot that they even dated at this point.
Same until Paige was like, I'm in a functional relationship. I was like, oh yeah, you're not, but I
you're
not
not.
About that.
So that's honestly the funny part. And again, the way that this season worked out, the main focus, like 80% of the season, was Jesse and Lexi. And it didn't really get on my nerves. I think because it was so outlandish and there were so many things to laugh at. That's why it was okay.
I don't know.
I think if they were a little more serious, like last year, Ciara and West didn't really take up a lot of the spotlight. It was weird, but it didn't bother me that much because Carl and Lindsay were breaking up, so that was kind of funny.
That took
so like as long as there's a breakup and it's not too serious or too annoying, I'm good. If it's just funny because I don't really care what these people do and it's insane to me, I'm gonna laugh at it the whole time. So they found the sweet spot.
Oh, I think it's because not one person on earth was invested in these two. Like no one gave a shit whether or not they were successful in this thing because it was so ridiculous from the jump that it was almost like guilt-free watching. Like if this doesn't pan out, who gives a fuck? They shouldn't be together anyway. And watching the fallout and discussing it analytically has actually been a treat, just to like break it all down. But
sure has.
We got the finale next week, and then we imagine a 2-parter. It makes sense for a 2-parter here, and that's usually the go-to with these kinds of shows. But I'm excited for next week. I don't care about Paige and Craig's scene. I really don't. The rest I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited to put it to bed. Let's put it that way.
Sure, okay, fine. I'll look at it that way. And I'm excited to watch, because we don't usually get those, like the sad after breakup conversation that's awkward and uncomfortable. We get to watch that with Jesse and Lexi at the party next episode. And those are great because it's like, I shouldn't feel anything because we're broken up, but at the same time, fuck you. It's like, oh yeah, fuck you too. Those are great. Awesome. But you got anything else?
Nope.
That's our show. Bro's got to go.